Every once in a while, you come across a movie that causes you to ponder for a long time after watching it. I watched the movie Aniara recently, which is based on a famous Swedish poem of the same name, and it's worth unpacking some of the themes it brings up, such as sense of purpose, existential crisis, procreation in a hopeless world, and the limits of optimism, to name a few. I will be talking about the whole movie, and I would give a spoiler alert, but really, even after hearing the spoilers, the movie is still worth watching. The basic plot goes like this. Earth's environment is too chaotic and dangerous for humans to continue living in it, so people are routinely transported to a Mars colony to continue life there. Aniara is the name of a massive spaceship that ferries a couple thousand people at a time. The trip is supposed to take 3 weeks, but the pilots are suddenly forced to change course and dump fuel, avoiding colliding with space debris on the way to Mars. This turns out to mean the ship is unable to get back on course, and the ship drifts out into deep space without a clear way to get back. Aniara is basically a self-sustaining small city, and they figure out a way to continue making food, apparently having enough energy to power all the ship's inner workings. The main character, MR, operates an artificial intelligence called Mima on the ship that reads people's memories and allows them to re-experience pleasant memories of the Earth as it used to be, in a sort of very realistic virtual reality. As time goes on, more and more people are interested in this experience as a form of escapism from their plight. But eventually, Mima is overwhelmed with people's despair and emotional burdens and self-destructs. It's quite an interesting twist to have AI essentially kill itself due to humanity's mental burdens, and it might be a commentary on how simulation technology, and perhaps technology in general, has its limits in saving humanity from itself. Throughout the journey, the captain attempts to publicly keep a stoic face about the situation and outright lies about the ship's chances to get back, giving passengers false hope. This character seems to represent an authority figure that will do whatever it takes to maintain order and avoid chaos from the reality of hopelessness. It seems that telling people there is still hope is also his own way to avoid thinking about the inevitable, even though intellectually he knows the truth. As the years go by, MR forms a romantic relationship with one of the pilots named Isagel. They somehow find themselves being part of a ritual in a cult that worships and prays to the now dead Mima. As a result of her actions at one of these gatherings, Isagel becomes pregnant. Earlier in the movie, Isagel's character is described as fatalistic, and facing the potential of giving birth to a child under these conditions doesn't seem to help. There is one scene where she is seen deeply regretting being pregnant, saying, "There are no possibilities here. I'll give birth to a prisoner. I'll deliver someone to eternal night." Although not explicitly anti-natalistic, the movie at least encourages one to think of the ethics of bringing more humans into this situation. Throughout much of the movie, MR represents the tenacious optimist. She is often in a good mood and seems to bounce back even after the many episodes of bad news. Although she does suffer from occasional panic attacks, which she deals with in private. After Isagel's dark reflections on her bringing a child, MR quickly responds saying, "I promise, it's going to be fine." And for a while, it seems things are okay. They raise the child together, and Isagel hides her persistent fatalism. But eventually, Isagel tragically kills herself and the child, and MR doesn't seem to ever recover from this. The movie seems to draw a line for the limits of optimism and people's different psychological breaking points. Another interesting character was the ship's astronomer. Due to her background knowledge, she is one of the few people who knows from the beginning there is no realistic way for the ship to get back, despite whatever the captain says. In an attempt to drown out her realizations, she drinks alcohol heavily most of the day. At one point, she does discover a mysterious object is heading for the ship. At first, it is thought this could be a rescue fuel rod, but eventually it turns out not to be. Again, she is the first to arrive at this correct conclusion, and she turns back to alcohol. As she confronts the captain about his denial and hypocrisy surrounding the false hope he gives passengers, the captain gets fed up with her and shoots her dead. With impunity, I may add, since no one really questions his authority. The astronomer seems to represent the realist who knows too much and can't keep quiet, and who eventually collides with an authority figure who is ever more desperate to maintain order and some semblance of hope. The last survivors are seen chanting in a dark room 24 years into the journey. Their faces cachectic, almost zombie-like, essentially awaiting death. In a strangely haunting way, the last frame of the movie shows the ship 5.9 million years afterwards, traversing by an Earth-like planet in the Lyra constellation. The music is pretty impactful, leaving you thinking, sitting still, well into the closing credits. Even though I really liked it, I have to say this is one of the most disturbing movies I've seen. Amongst all the different themes it explores, I think it most saliently exposes just how much hope and purpose, whether real or not, are important in finding energy to continue daily life. At the same time, it points out how reality eventually prevails. I think one of the reasons why the movie is disturbing is because one could interpret the ship as representing Earth, a self-contained vessel with limited resources flying through space without a specific destination, and with only as much hope as its occupants conjure up. This interpretation may be extrapolating a bit much, but it is thought-provoking. In the same vein, I also like the big picture of realizing we are all in the same boat. We depend on the same limited resources, and all will eventually face mortality. There is some comfort in the equalizing solidarity this could bring to encourage us to be more compassionate to ourselves and others, if only we realized it. Thanks for listening.